Healthy, put him in a bath of water.
This rat is perfectly healthy. Put him in a vat of water and he finds his way to safety every time.
5.2.
Good rat.
Now, look at this guy.
Oh, why? I think I'm familiar with this research. Is this a really popular set of rat studies where I think you're trying to induce like hopelessness in them? So you give them a drug, or you stress them out, or you have them like try to swim with like in order to survive for a minute or two, and they don't know when it's going to end, and they might die or something like this. Yeah, I don't know why. I have a friend, and she works in a lot of what is her job? She verifies. I think she writes formulas to verify scientific data that's coming out of labs where people work on like phase 1 trialing on drugs like this. And basically what she does is like when data is coming out of the lab, she's looking at it to make sure that like, is everything hooked up correctly? Does this data look like it's valid? Is everything within acceptable ranges, so that you know that, because you have to test, you've got to baseline all of your shit in order to know like if this is good or not, right? So say you're you're studying rats or something, and you've got like 5 heartbeats coming in or pulses, and one is like wildly high, and it's like, okay, we have to disregard this. This isn't good, or something is going wrong, or I'm losing data here and it's not right. Stuff like that. Yeah. That's the only reason why I know anything about this bullshit.
What he's been eating is the equivalent of a North American diet, complete with all the fats and sugars we regularly consume. He doesn't know where to go. His brain has been damaged.
These rats were totally normal, and then they turned into demented animals. They don't remember their learning after even a day. And as the challenge gets harder and harder, they fail more and more, just like a human with Alzheimer's disease.
36.2.
In this lab, the belief now is that Alzheimer's is really diabetes of the brain, linked to insulin levels, which can be affected by too much sugar.
This is an interesting experiment, but I wouldn't believe any of this. This doesn't really make sense to me, because a rat's biology and its internal like digestion system is totally different than a human's.
Do you not think the researchers that are working with the rats know that the rats are not humans? What is the purpose of a statement like that? Like, also, we are far more similar to mammals and other creatures than people realize. There are also all general research, and it might even be the case that all phase 1 trials for medication, I don't know if that's true, like we'll start with in animal research. Like, I don't want to be... I'm trying not to be mean. This is one of the most scientifically illiterate or research illiterate statements I've ever heard in my life, okay? To say, first of all, actually, you know what? I'll be even more nitpicky. No, actually, it's not even nitpicky. To say that they're totally, completely different, that's not even really true. That's not even really true. They're not. They share a remarkable amount of similarity with humans.
Can be affected by too much sugar.
This is an interesting experiment, but I wouldn't believe any of this. This doesn't really make sense to me, because a rat's biology and its internal like digestion system is totally different than a human's.
Like, what do you mean when you say internal? What do you think we have you know that we all eat kind of like roughly the same types of foods and everything, right? Like, are rats walking around like consuming lava and diamond and silicon or rocks, or like what, like when you say totally different, what do you mean by totally different? And before, they do eat rocks and lava.
So in the same way that there's different pH levels for the skin, and like, you know, like for example, like shampoo for humans aren't the same as shampoo for animals.
You do know that they literally start off testing a lot of beauty products on animals, right? Like, they literally start off testing these things, like hair loss stuff or shampoo or cosmetics, literally start off testing them on animals, right? Like, do we need different types of like vitamins or different types of, yeah, at the end of the day, the formulas are definitely going to be tweaked for humans, but this is where the research starts, right? Why am I?
It's similar. It's not that much.
At least I think Chad is pushing back on this. Please don't do that thing where you don't have all the information and go on a 10-minute tirade about why you're correct and why this isn't true. That's why they use rats. Nah, they use mice and rats for this stuff because it's similar. Why do you think they research on rats? Rats are actually very similar to humans. Rats are okay. At least the Chad is like a little bit more okay.
They calculate for that? I don't know. I mean, like, look, it's going to take a lot to convince me that a rat eating the same thing as me, their side effects are going to be the same as my side effects. I hear that, and I'm like, well, yeah, of course, it's a rat. It's totally different than a person. So, yeah, it's way smaller. Well, I mean, obviously, they're going to change the portion size. So, yeah. Oh, hello?
Asana's watching on stream.
Let me go ahead and put. Can you repeat that just so they can hear it?
What?
Okay. When I worked
Am I in the forest?
in a psych lab, we used to use these rats, and they're called hooded rats. We used to fly them in from New York, you know, and down to Florida to run these experiments. And the closest thing, in many cases, to a human are hogs, pigs.
Yeah.
And they use pigs for a lot of human anatomy stuff. And I'd be curious to see this study with pigs. But the rats' digestive system and the way that they process sugar and nutrients and so forth is similar enough to make an inference, especially when the animal was that lost, swimming all around.
He's stupid.
He wanted to go back up where he was coming from. And so, I mean, you can see that, right? What he was doing, he just had to cross the copper. So, but not the first one. So I would need to know more, a lot more. I mean, you need to know a lot more about the background of the rats, what else they were fed, and so forth. But it's not, you can't just write it off because rats are not like humans.
I ain't going to write it off. I just said I wasn't going to write it on. I said it's hard for me to believe that, like, because I'm not a rat.
So I don't know. A lot of people would disagree, but yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Uh-huh.
But the function is still the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you would disagree because this guy is eating a lot of the same diet you do. But
I should do like a content day where it's just like a whole. It's like we're gonna do an Asmongold React content day. Like. This is such a ridiculous test. Like, I don't think this can tell us anything valuable about how car accidents would impact humans. Like, this crash test dummy isn't even a human at all. If anything, it's just a doll. Like, I don't even know why they would waste our taxpayer money or time doing stuff like this. Just totally a waste of time and resources. Like, how stupid is this? Okay, what's the next thing? What else can we react to? Like,
but that's just to set the record straight. The rats can be used as they call them infra-human.
All right. Okay, I gotta get to it. There's a lot for me to go over.
Okay.
Okay.
Just wanted to clarify on
Thanks.
the
Yeah.
rats.
Thanks. All right.
These rats are specially bred for this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Yo. Bye.
Yo, bye-bye.
if that's his dad, I don't even like what his dad is saying. First, that he agrees with them mostly because he doesn't agree with them, or he shouldn't be. And two, that like the rats are special bred for this. They do use special breeds of animals for testing, but that's not really even hitting at the heart of why what Asmongold is saying is just not correct, right? Like, you're always starting in smaller test environments before you can't just begin testing on humans, right? You understand that you can't just start a test on fucking humans. You can't do that. Like,
yeah, my dad did a lot of this stuff. Like, he worked in a college and everything. He's a college professor, and like, so he did a lot of experiments and shit like this with that stuff. So yeah, there we go. Alzheimer's is pretty commonly known as type 3 diabetes. Yeah, I think it's very interesting for sure.
No! This one's going to trigger me. I actually can't watch it. I'm sorry. Explain the reaction. There's a really common set of like weird dietary nutrition. There's like a bunch of weird people that push this idea of some people. It used to have a little bit of credence, but the idea is that Alzheimer's, that disease, is actually just a type 3 diabetic disease. And usually the people that say it's type 3 diabetes, they also push the idea, generally is running in concordance with each other or in tandem with each other, push this idea that it can be totally cured by just like changing your diet, and all the medication and research around it is like, right, it's very, I don't need to run into all that. Okay.